taking out that one, right? That one?
We're actually taking out this one. This is what we're reviewing today. It's got a 6.5 liter V12. It's an SV, it's a 750, that's only a 700.
I mean, still
SV.
a Lambo.
SV.
Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and as you can see, we've got the Stradman's Lamborghini just behind me. We are going to be reviewing the Gallardo today. I know there's a lot of distractions in the background, but this is the car that we are going to be focusing on today. It is the first supercar that the Stradman, that you guys all know him as, real name's James, purchased originally. But as always, we will do a quick walk around on the car, go over the key features, and then we're actually going to take it out with James today to see how this Gallardo drives. And this has the 6-speed manual transmission. So starting up front, this is usually where we go over the engine, but since this car is mid-engine, as you can see, this is where the storage space is. So we actually have a car cover under here, and there is actually a little toolkit here with some Lamborghini gloves. They are white, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you're going to be working on a car. But you've got a little bit of storage space in the front to make this car a little bit more practical. And then actually finishing things up front, we have some projector HID bulbs on both sides with the Lamborghini logo front and center. And you can see some little air intakes up the front there for added cooling on the car. And then in terms of the color, the Stradman's Lamborghini is finished in Arancio Borealis, just a fancy name for orange, and it has a very, very nice shine on it in the sun. I hope you can see it from this angle, but it just absolutely sparkles. This color looks a lot better in person than it looks in pictures. And then in terms of the rim setup, we've got 235s up front, and then we have 305s in the rear. They are on forged rims, so these rims are aftermarket. They do not come from the factory, and especially with the finish that they have on them, they look absolutely amazing with the Gallardo. And then the other thing to mention while we're on the side here is this has been lowered, so 1 inch in the front and then a 1/2 inch in the back. It's adjustable coilover suspension, but it definitely gives a car a much more aggressive stance since it's so much lower to the ground. But we're gonna have to say rest in peace for the front bumper, since it's pretty much gonna scrape on everything. And then another thing to mention on the side here is you have some air intakes on the side. They look super, super aggressive, and that's gonna get all that airflow into that naturally aspirated V10. Now coming around to the back, the first thing that we're gonna note is the spoiler on the back. This is also aftermarket. It's a carbon fiber spoiler, and you can see that in the sunlight. Looks absolutely amazing. And then it does have a glass cover over the engine bay so that you can look at that beautiful naturally aspirated V10. Before we get into the engine bay, you can see all of the venting back here to let heat leave the car, and then it does have a dual exhaust system. I will definitely throw some exhaust clips in there so you can hear how the exhaust on the Gallardo sounds. And then he has tinted the taillights as well to make them a little bit darker, and kind of goes a lot better with the overall theme of this car. This particular one goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. You're going to get 520 horsepower and then 375 pound-feet of torque, and that's actually all going to be available at higher RPMs in the range. Like the horsepower, for example, you get all that horsepower at over 8,000 RPMs, and that's the thing that's beautiful about these Lamborghini motors is they rev so high, and so you can get so much performance out of them, but then also you get a beautiful sound when you go up to red line. Just going to try to get you a little bit better view into this engine so you can see everything a little bit better. I just love how the engine looks, especially through the glass cover. It's just super, super sweet. And then if you are wondering, this is the key fob for the Gallardo. So you have your lock and unlock, and then it's a flip out key. So obviously borrowed from Audi and Volkswagen, but at least it does have a little Lambo badge on the back, and then Lamborghini Newport Beach as well, where this was purchased from. Now, since this is a 2006, you're not getting anything fancy, so it is just going to be regular entry into the car, so no keyless entry or anything like that. Now, looking at the door panel here, we can see the door handle on the side here, and this door handle might get modified in the near future. More to come on that for you guys. But you can see some nice orange contrasted stitching there with the black leather as well. And so it's actually a really nice premium looking door handle, especially for, you know, how old this car actually is. Now, before we hop inside, that little lever that you see right here, that's actually the hood release. So the hood release is behind, which is kind of weird. Now, this is going to be the fun part, which is stepping in, and stepping height's going to be really low to the ground since this is a Lamborghini. A little bit difficult to get into, but definitely worth it, and once you are in here, it's actually really comfortable. So if we look down below here, it's actually a little bit cramped, but this is the pedal box. So you've got your clutch pedal, on the left side, and then in the middle you've got your brake and then your gas pedal, and they look really, really nice. I actually like the look of the pedals, and you can see the dead pedal over to the side there as well. So before we start up the Gallardo, I actually want to go over the steering wheel. This is from a time when we didn't have controls all over the steering wheel, and it's nice to see such a simplistic steering wheel. It doesn't have radio controls and all that kind of stuff. It's just a steering wheel. It's meant for turning, and that's all it has on it, and I absolutely love that, and it's really cool to be able to see Lamborghini right in the center of a steering wheel. Now, to start up the Gallardo, all you have to do is put the key into this little slot right here, push the clutch all the way in, and then turn the key. And then you'll hear that V10 fire to life. That was my bad on that. So now that the Lamborghini is started up, we can see the tachometer over here. So you're gonna see RPMs on the one side. You can notice that red line is at 8,000 RPMs. And then you've got your speed on the other side, and you can see that it goes up to 210 miles an hour. You don't see that every single day. And then you actually have this little center screen right there that you can go through a couple different options, but what we have it set right now is just to show the range on the car before it's going to be out of fuel. And then you've got your fuel gauge over there, and then you have your temperature gauge on the other side. And if you do notice, half a tank, 120 miles of range. It's pretty crazy. And then it's almost impossible to see because of the lighting, but there's a couple other gauges up here that give you like battery and oil temperature and oil pressure as well, with these little 3 gauges up there. And then you get some circular vents throughout the interior. I love the look of those circular vents. And then there's some nice stitching and leather all over the dash. See, we've got the infotainment screen here, and pretty old school. You got a bunch of dials on it, but it's pretty simple. I mean, it's not a touchscreen or anything like that, you can see, but you've got navigation function with it, and basically all of your buttons, you know, you're just gonna do radio, all that kind of stuff through it. But it does come with a backup camera. Now, all of the controls are actually in the center of the car. The only thing you get in the door is actually the lock and unlock function, but you can see you've got your window controls right here that'll open and close the windows. And then you have all of your light controls, and then you've got your hazard lights as well, and then that's to open up the gas. And then down below, you get heated seats in the Gallardo, dual zone climate, so you have climate for the driver and the passenger. And then we're gonna look down here. These are gonna be some of the more important controls in the Gallardo. I actually can't quite figure out what this button does. I've pressed it a couple times and it hasn't done anything. Maybe it's parking lights in the rear or something like that. But this other button's more important. This is actually the front axle lift. So if you get a 2006 or newer Gallardo, they come with a front axle lift, which is actually gonna be really important because this car's so low to the ground, so it's gonna help getting in and out of driveways and all that kind of stuff a lot easier. Now, the most important part, the gated 6-speed shifter, and it's just so cool. It makes these little clicking noises when you go into gear, and it's just super, super smooth. It's really easy to get into gear. Like I said, there's a lockout for the reverse. You got to press it down, but the clutch on this car is actually pretty heavy, and so with this shifter, it's just kind of more of like a raw experience. And then we do get a traditional parking brake here. We've got like little leather there on the bottom of it, so you can do some e-brake slides in your Lambo. And then I love the seats in the Gallardo. So they've got more aggressive bolsters on them, and then they've got the orange contrasted stitching in this one to match the exterior of the car. But they look really, really cool, and they hold you in place and actually really comfortable to sit in. They got some nice thigh support as well. But wrapping things up on the interior on the Gallardo, it's actually really nicely put together. It definitely feels like a premium interior, which you'd hope because it's a Lamborghini, but the interior, other than like the touchscreen and all that, doesn't feel dated or anything like that. So it's nice that the car is, even as old as it is, it still has an interior that feels good to the modern day. But with that all being said, let's get to the most exciting part, which is the drive portion, to see how the 2006 Lamborghini Gallardo drives. Hey guys, it's Ben Hardy here, and we're doing the drive portion, and the first thing that I've noticed is the clutch on this, like I said earlier, is super, super heavy actually. And not only that, but the shifter makes these really cool clicking sounds when you go into gear. So you can hear when I go into gear, it just makes these super, super sweet clicking sounds with it, and the noise in this car is just crazy. And it's actually pretty easy to rev match, but what I am noticing is my shoes are kind of a little bit bigger. You want to wear like smaller size shoes because the pedals are just super close together. Visibility in the car is actually really good. You can see pretty much all around you, and especially out the back window with that engine bay cover, you can just see right back behind you, and that's something to be said because a lot of supercars you actually can't do that. It's like you're almost in like a cave basically. And then in terms of the steering feel, it is a hydraulic rack. It actually feels really, really tight. The steering is really heavy. I love the feel of the steering on this car. It's like more of a natural feeling on that, and it's more old school, but with everyone doing electrically assisted, this kind of brings you back in time, which I love. We're gonna get little acceleration here. Oh, she sounds good when you get up to 8,000 RPMs, and it just pulls, it's crazy. So we're gonna get a proper acceleration again now. Over here, so pedal down. Oh, she screams. It's just crazy how quick this car is. It's a riot to drive. And the sound that V10 makes, you guys know I have a 350 and I love the sound of the 350, but it's nothing like a V10. I can promise that to you guys. I think the speed is so effortless in this car. I mean, it goes and goes, and unlike the Shelby, it actually feels even more linear power-wise. You guys know that my car kind of like nothing happens and it kicks on. This is just kind of more, and it just pulls all the way through. It's so much fun.
Hit it.
It's so addicting. That was 55, okay? 55. So addicting. I think that I should get this purely based on the fact that I would cut my commute to work from 20 minutes down to like 5. I promise I didn't just almost stall it.
It's a $10,000 glitch.
No pressure.
Never doubt full send. Never, ever, ever doubt. Don't granny it. Hit it. Woo. Look at that laser focus. Yeah, there's a Gallardo in your life, that's for sure. I see it now.
Horrible direction.
Yeah, so we're going to be going straight, and we're going to have to sort of bob and weave to get around these jokers. We've got the QX4 and we have the Express. Express could be a competitor, but I like our chances against the QX4.
Oh yeah, the Infinity's definitely quicker.
Oh,
they're getting out of the way! Kind of sort of getting used to the rev matching now finally, but I would definitely wear smaller shoes. Oh, that sounds so good with the windows down. You can kind of hear like the ignition opening with at the engine, when you kind of just barely put on the throttle, you can actually hear the throttle. I guess I should say not the ignition, but the throttle. You can actually hear the throttle opening up. It's crazy. You just hear like a little pop. I'm just enjoying my experience with this car at this point. I don't have anything else to say really.
Except you're getting one win next week.
Well, as soon as I can find one, every single time I look these up, it goes manual transmission, and I'm like, oh, it's so sweet. But then I actually look at the pictures, and it's an E-gear every single time. It's like these manuals don't exist. And there we have it, everyone, the 2006 Lamborghini Gallardo. And then, as always, thank you everyone so much for watching. If you are stopping for the first time, it always helps out the channel to subscribe. But please comment down below what you thought, and then I will see all of you in that next video. And this is kind of like an after the fact scene, but the new white rims look crazy. You can see the spoiler, carbon fiber, it just looks super, super good in the sunlight. We should get James Celeste review this car. That would be super, super sweet to be able to do. I think he should leave the hood exposed. Let me know what you guys think, but I definitely think that he should leave the hood exposed on the Aventador.